session, and I'll have it posted about 15-20 minutes after the class. Hi there, Chris. Good to have you on. We've got Charlie, Chris, Joya, Mikasa, Shannon, Stefan, or Steven. I don't know how to say your name. Anna, Aiden, and myself on right now. So welcome in, and we're recording it for everybody else. So this is Design 301. It's the summer session. I'm Professor Schuster. Hi there. I'm a mechanical engineer. I graduated from UC Davis in 1983. And although I've got an engineering degree, I worked in design and production all my life, and R&D. I worked for a kind of a pipe cutting company that made portable cutting equipment and welding equipment. I've worked for a valve manufacturer, a pump manufacturer, and a mining equipment place. So I've got lots of cool experience, and my first introduction to Autocad was in about 87, 88, when my boss at Wemco called me in. I had a crew in the research department, asked me in on a Saturday to bring everybody in. We emptied out all the drafting tables, cold turkey, and installed computers all in one day. And then I came to ARC for a week to learn AutoCAD. And that was my introduction to AutoCAD. And I've been using it ever since. So I've got a little bit of experience with it, and it's a very cool program, and I know that you're going to love working with it. Although AutoCAD is our primary software package that we use, it's not the only one, and it's not even the most common one used in industry now, but it is the backbone of all the others. So we're going to start with that, and later on you'll be able to move to some other things. So what we're going to work on today is go over an introduction, the general information. There's no graded work in that. And then I'll briefly talk about the assignments, tutorials, and practice work that we'll start with tomorrow. So you can see here the way that I set things up as I work off of the calendar. For you, it looks like this. And then if you pop it up big, it looks more like this. Every week, now I have my week set to start on my calendar, set to start on Mondays, because it makes more sense to me. So we work Monday through Sunday. Each work is one group of things to do. And your submittal is due on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. I do accept late work, but I don't grade it until the very end, and I only grade half of it. So I'm going to suggest that you turn in whatever you've got, because I always let you update and revise without any penalty. But if you fail to turn something in, that's sort of like the worst thing that you can do in industry, is do a bunch of work for a client and not give it to them. So that's my training for that. So you'll see on this top bar everything that is due for a given week. Okay? And you'll see here that this week, a big section is this just general info, so that you get a hang and get a feel for what this class is like. It is fast moving. It's 16 weeks packed into 6 weeks. There's 99 hours of work identified in our curriculum that formally I'm supposed to get you through. And then there's your homework. Now, fortunately, the way we've set it up is we think you can get through everything, because a lot of that is lab in that 99 hours. But that's still about 12 to 16 hours a week. And so please plan to set that up. For the stuff that we're doing here, if you've already got AutoCAD, that's cool. If you don't, you can access it through VMware. Here I am on VMware. It always kicks you off after a while, so I'm going to have to get back on again. But that's okay. It'll kick you off and you'll get back on. And all of our software is available to you in this browser identified VMware. And there it is. And so I've got Adobe up and running. I've got my Google Drive up and running. I've got my file system on this drive up and running. And I've got Autocad up and running. So that's all available to you. And I even do that on a Chromebook. Once through every semester, I take a week and run it just off of a Chromebook to make sure that everything's still working. So you're able to get everything off of a Chromebook if you need to. You can also download it. The disadvantage to running this is it does not save directly to your host, your main computer. So you have to save everything through like a Google Drive or a SharePoint or something like that. You do have a student drive that you can get to. Okay? So that's how you get AutoCAD. If you want to download it yourself, you can find it in the Tech Ed area of YouTube, which I can show you in a little bit. So that's just a little bit. We're mostly going to work with AutoCAD, but you'll see that we have access to SketchUp and to Revit and to Dynascape and Dynascape Color. And somewhere we've got Chief Architect. We've got Inventor. We've got Maya. I think Chief Architect is on the Art New Media computers. So you would go there to get to that. So we've got all of the stuff available for you, but we're going to work mostly, at least for the first 4 weeks, in AutoCAD. I'd like you to watch these introduction videos on your own. You should always sort of know a little bit about the program that your classes are in. So I know not all of you are looking to do a design technology degree or certificate. We get many, many students from a landscape, from interior design, from welding, things like that. So you should know about the entire Tech Ed area. This is about engineering and design technology. These are the actual courses. Here's a little ditty about this class, and here's a little bit about me. So you can look at those on your own. We don't need to do it in lecture. And that'll take you about 15 or 20 minutes just to look through there. It's just a very, very good idea to know the background as much as you can about where things are coming from. And this is how you do it. Okay. Hi there, Tyler. Good to have you on with us. Welcome aboard. And so you can watch these introductions on your own. There's no exam. There's no requirement for these. They're information only. Now, how does this class work? So here's a YouTube with a whole bunch of how-to stuff. This is a playlist. And you'll see how to get started in Canvas, how to do your executive summary, how to do a PDF. So if you don't know how to do some stuff, how to use your mouse, this is just a big, long, how to join a Google Meet, how to share your screen, make an appointment. There's just a bunch of how-to stuff that we expect that you know how to do or you'll learn how to do. This is just technology stuff. And since we're design technology, our main goal is to make technically competent professionals out of our students. Now, some of our students already are technically competent professionals. Many of our students have degrees from other states, other countries, and they're just looking to pick up some software skills. But we think that there's lots to being technically competent, and this is just a whole bunch of lists for them. Included in that is this Tech Tools. You should know how to do all these things, and you should be set up to do them. So, you look at it, it's 22, 23 things. And so you should hopefully take this little survey and go, yeah, I know how to do that. I know, no, I don't know how to do that. I don't know. And you might even go, I wonder how he makes these colors come up like that. And learn how to do that too. But if most of this can be green, you're well set. And if you're at least yellowish and green, you're pretty well set. But if a lot of this is red, you'll want to take time to go through these and really figure it out and get it down. Okay? So that's a bunch there. Feel free. You're not seeing what I'm showing. Anybody else having that problem? You can go to, if you go to the participants list and look, you'll see me twice. You'll see Randall Schuster and Randall Schuster presentation. Click on the pin for the presentation and you should see me. Okay, so that should do it. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can put it up here. So right over here, so most of it, if you can't see what I'm showing, only my calendar is showing. All right, that's interesting. Let me reshare. I thought I was sharing the whole screen. Okay, how about now? There we go. Cool. Now I see the whole thing showing. So here's the course how-to list. The playlist. Here's your tech tips. Thank you for doing that. Thought I was sharing the whole thing. It must have been from my other meet that was still up. How to save your work. That one's like a super, super important one.
Today, we'll talk about saving your files.
Be sure to watch that and just know saving your files and file management is one of the main parts of the workplace, what you have to do. Your work is useless if your boss can't get to it. So be sure to check out how to save your work, and there's more stuff on that. And now we're into the part that I do have to go over. I expect that you will read the syllabus completely and look at it, and you're going to even have to certify that you did so. But we're going to take a few minutes to look at what each slide in the syllabus means and how to work with that in your submittal. So first of all, this should for you say it's read only. All you can do is look at it and read it. So this thing that says make it green if you've read it, you have to have your own copy of it. Right? But this is me. This is me on ratemyprofessor.com. You should always read those things. Okay? You can always meet with me and use the appointment calendar to get with me. Or if you're on Discord, I actually like working on Discord the best. You can work on Discord with me, or you can email me. If you send a message to my phone, it comes to me via email, so that's good. You should also know that you have a home-based coach to help you with things that are not part of the class. How do I add? How do I get financial aid? How do I do this? How do I do that? And Shane doesn't do it all, but he knows everybody who does. And so if you're kind of going, I just don't even know where to go, you can get a hold of Shane. Okay? And there's his email and there's his phone number. Or you should have a home-based Canvas site. So let's take a look. This class has 33 hours of lecture, 63 hours of lab, of identified work in our curriculum. And my job is to get that all to you in a way that makes sense. Okay? And we're doing that in 6 weeks. We are fully online, what we call high flex, which means that you can access this in these meets, through recordings, asynchronously, through appointments, and that we're giving you access to everything. When we are able to go back in the classroom, you will also be able to have lab time with an instructor, with me, in the lab, but as part of high flex. But our goal is to let you access this how you want. Okay? So that's you should look this over. So that's the course descriptions. These are your student learning outcomes. Everything we do should relate back to these or the student learning outcomes for our department, which is to get you work ready. So to get you work ready, one of the things is AutoCAD basic skills for technical drawings. Okay? AutoCAD is also very useful for graphic design and sketching and things that are not technical drawings, visualizations, but we're going to focus on technical drawings. Develop, and this is part of that, orthographics, isometrics, plans, elevations, and details. So you need to, everything we do should drive towards those things. Okay? We also want to do that in mechanical, civil, landscape, architecture, and interior design. So now that doesn't mean you have to do all those, but we're going to for sure do mechanical, civil, and architecture. You have to touch those ones. And then if you have another interest, we let you go into that other interest. Okay? And then here's a big one. Determine whether technical drawings meet industry standards. And we're going to start off with that right away. That's in your production discussion board. So every week there's going to be something about technical drawings where you're going to have to look at it and find out whether it's meeting standards. And our very first one is about whether it even gives you enough information to make a part. So keep these things in mind as we go. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do setup, line, and shape commands. The setup we'll work on tomorrow, and the line and shape commands will work on Thursday. And that'll give you Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to practice and get things done and watch videos. Setup takes me about 15 minutes. The line and shape commands take me about half an hour. So you've got, that to me means it should take you about 4 to 6 hours. Okay, editing commands, that one will be more like an hour to 2 hours for me. So you should be in about 8 hours of work, plus about 4 hours of just study and practice. Then we'll go on to industry standards, technical drawings with dimensions, and then you've got 2 weeks of doing your own project work, sort of. Now, I drive it by giving you choices, but they're pretty restricted and focused down to what meets our needs. And then the final exam is really just the last day, and that's to put all your work together into one portfolio. Okay? So I'm looking on the chat. I think I've got everything squared away. Grading system. Now you can watch this video. It is pretty close. I've modified things from the video just a little bit, but basically you'll make a submittal at the end of the week and it's worth 10 points. Okay? 8 points is based on the technical portion of it, and 2 points are based on other points. All right, so you make a submittal each week. 90% and up is an A, a B, a C, a D, and an F. Okay? It might take me a little while to get the submittals graded, but in general, I'll have them graded by the Tuesday following when they're due. Remember, they're all due Sunday at 11:59 p.m. You are allowed to revise your work, okay? But you only get to revise what I've marked up. So if you turn it in and there's a whole bunch missing, that's still missing, right? You get to revise what I mark up to make it better. All right? And then you have to let me know. I don't just go around reading all your stuff over and over again to see if you've redone it. So you'll have to send me an email that says, hey, I've done the markups. Can you regrade for me? And I'll do that. Okay? And your revisions can gain up to 0.5 point. Okay? So if you had a 9, you could get up to a 9.5. If you had an 8, you could get up to an 8.5. And those things really do count. All right? But what I like to do is make sure that the revisions are not, oh, you just had a bunch of work missing, but you had something that you didn't understand and I have to reteach it to you. Late work. If you fail to turn something in on time, then you put it in the late work folder, and at the end of the semester, I will grade half of what you've submitted. The remainder will keep it as 0. Okay, so it really makes sense to keep up with your work and to turn things in, even if it's not perfect or not. This is in keeping with my experience in the workplace. I tell you, one time I had $1 million submittal for Los Angeles Unified School District, and the door closed at 10, and it closed on a person running down the hallway to get their submittal in. Whap! Door closed. They missed out. My company got that job. So you need to have in industry, clients don't go, oh, please get it done whenever you can. There's a deadline, and it usually has to do with money. So get it in on time. On that one particular job, we were missing some information. We turned that whole submittal in anyway, and was like, oh, I can't believe my AA forgot that part. And she faxed it to us, and we put it in, and we were okay. All right? Get your work done, get your work done, get your work done, and submit it. This is important. Clients expect to get the right product delivered at the right time in the right format. That's sort of our quality statement. So in keeping with this, okay, you need to hit milestones in the class. This is part of the workplace training. If you don't even look at 20% of the material that is required, okay, what's required are these videos or these lectures and a few other things. I drop you down a grade at the end of the semester. Now, here's the good part. You certify to me that you've done it. And I will check one or two of them, just like any good certification. This is a self-certification, although I can tell much from Canvas. But if you're not accessing the material, you're going to go down a grade. Okay? That would be like, oh, I did my design, but I didn't read the specs, right? So your design might be right or it might be wrong. Okay? 3 or more late weekly submittals. That's half your work late. Yeah, you're going down a grade. Sorry. And if you fail to submit the final portfolio, that's really what proves that you have met these student learning outcomes. So if you don't do that, that's like doing all the work for a client and not giving them their drawings. You go down a grade. Okay, this rarely happens. Almost never happens, you know? And you'll find that I sound really tough, but if you ever have any difficulties meeting some set of requirements, please email me and meet with me, and we'll figure out a way for you to be able to meet the requirements. Okay? The way around all of this stuff is to communicate. 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 I learned that from Dr. Vern Degner, who was our director of research at WEMCO. And we always had a plan. And if the plan went sideways or south, it was communication. And if I failed to communicate, I got reamed out like royal because Dr. Degner had all the higher ups to report to, and there were sometimes thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars on the line, and the last thing he needed was a surprise. So communicate, communicate, communicate. If you're having difficulties, just let me know, and we'll figure out a plan. Okay, here's the next part that's super important: academic honesty and professionalism. And you can click on this and you can go see what I talk about professionalism. It's actually very important. I've been in positions where my professionalism was pressed and I was asked to violate professional ethical standards, and it was very difficult not to. I was fortunate that I didn't have to. I got out of it. I was able to maintain professional honesty and my standing. It's hard. It takes training. So we get started right now. You only turn in your work. Now, there are times when I'll ask you to collaborate, but you make it clear which part is yours, and you should truly and honestly represent your own skill. I'll tell you, nobody in the world cares about the grade you get in this class. Okay? You're going to go to a job interview and they're going to say, okay, sit down and draw, sit down and design, sit down and analyze. And you just got to be able to do it. And so your grade is meaningless. It means zero. It's your own skill. And so you want to make sure that you're representing your own skill and your ability. And some people go, yeah, why? Yeah, well, it's just so much, and I've got 50,000 things going on. Then just be honest about it and do what you can do. It's amazing how cool that is. Just do what, I mean, I bet you can do a raised hand if you've got life, right? Most people in these classes have a life outside of this class, and I understand that. I do too. So, only your own work. Okay, when I ask you to collaborate, be sure to identify which parts were yours and which part was a collaborator. Any violation of, and it's simple. I mean, is it your work and does it represent your skill? That's all we need to say about it. If you violate that, that's called a false certification. And in the design business, certifications are what it's all about. You put your name on a drawing, you're certifying that it meets standards and is correct and that it's right, all sorts of stuff. Okay, so if you create a false certification, you'll get a 0 for everything submitted that week, and I'll go back and check everything that you've done. And if I see a pattern, it could result in reduction of your final grade. You'll get to chat with our dean, and it could refer you to Office of Student Conduct. And guess what? It applies to whoever provided that information to you too. So you're putting another person at risk if you utilize their work. So just don't do it. Okay? Academic honesty is the first part of professionalism. Okay, so here we've got, this is participation. This is a course. It's not, like the back of a magazine where you send stuff in now and then. It's high flex lecture and lab, which means it's all there, and I put it out when I'm ready, when I see what you've done. But you can get it online here, all sorts of ways. Same with the collaboration. In this class, we won't really have a lot of opportunity to collaborate a lot, but we'll have some. And progress checks. I will be requiring that you do progress checks. In this class, you're going to do that through Canvas when you submit, and I'll tell you about that. Okay? If you need to ask me questions about something, you can always email me, but I'll tell you, that's a real crummy way to communicate. The best thing to do is email me and say, I need to meet with you. When can we meet? Especially if it doesn't meet this schedule. Okay? If you can't meet on this schedule, just let me know. If you are on and you're in a meet and everything, try to treat everybody professionally. I like to say, pretend you're going to work with that person for the next 10 years and that you love their music, that you love their artwork they've put up, and you love the way they dress and speak. And if you can do that, you'll be happier than going, oh, I hate their music and I hate the way they speak and I hate the way they dress. But also look at how they're speaking and doing and dressing and see if what you're doing might somehow conflict with their sensibilities. And on the whole, try not to do that. Okay? Always try to remain polite and civil. Make every effort to be well-dressed, well-groomed, whenever you're participating. So there's a little bit about that. You should not have to buy anything for this class. If you need resources, let me know. TechEd has resources to help you out. Chromebooks, mouse, microphones, headphones, things like that. TechEd is making every effort and design technology to make sure that you've got what you need. If you have any special needs that we haven't listed, just get with me and let me know in advance, and we will do our best to provide them to you. And we can work through DSPS, Homebase. We can do whatever we can to make sure that your special needs are met so that you are successful. That's what we try to do. Now, here's something, I don't know. We do have another professor on with us right now. Shannon, have you ever seen anybody tell a student how to make a complaint? Everybody should. Everybody should know how to make a complaint. I learned this at WEMCO. We were a union shop, and I was a supervisor. And the first week that I worked there, I had to learn the contract. My boss just handed me the contract, says, memorize this. This is how you work. And he said, the goal is to make sure that we always work to the contract. And in the contract was the complaint process, which went through here, there, and everywhere. I tell you, I got write-ups and complaints every week. And it was standard operating procedure that's how we communicated, whether things were going right and wrong. And it was no big deal. And that's how we worked. And it was cool. And because we were good at it, when I did need to do something that was outside the contract, I just got with the people that reported to me and says, okay, I'm going to give you special training right now. And they'd say, cool, because I could do anything if it was special training. So you should always know how to make a complaint. And if you work somewhere where making a complaint is frowned on, you should be wary and understand that that's probably not the most open, best, and flexible workplace to be in. So you should know how to make a complaint. So there's two types. There's the things that have to do with what I've got control over, grades, extra time for assignments. Oh, what am I going to take next semester? How do I do this? How do I do that? Can I get a reference letter? Send me an email. Wait no more than a day or two, and then see if my response addressed your concern. So those are easy ones. They're pretty straightforward. And if I address your concern, that's great. If I didn't address your concern, you drop over to here. Okay? Or if I'm the problem, Professor Schuster, and it's wrong or whatever. It's hard to bring up a complaint to the person who's the problem sometimes. Actually, you can bring it up with me, but some people don't feel comfortable with that. So then you go and contact our dean and say, we've got this very specific problem in this class, and And then again, wait a day or two for a reply and make sure that it addresses your concern. And then you can move it on from there. So you should always know how to file a complaint, because we have processes for that, and we should follow them. Cool. All right, so there you go. That's that little part. The next part of our general information about how class works is about your portfolio submittals. And every week there will be a portfolio, and you're going to insert your work into here. Okay? And this is in a specific format. I ask you to keep this format because then I can check your work fast. Okay, and this semester in the summer, it's not bad. There's like 30 people. But when I've got 130 or 140 people, it gets really tough. And so I like you to keep it to here. And you'll find each work, there's an executive summary. Get used to this. Every time you submit a report or submit work in the workplace, you need something that's very quick that summarizes what it is so the boss can decide whether to look at it or not. So I've combined a few things into the executive summary. quick visualizations. That's so that I can see if you're addressing the right thing. Your billable hours. So that's a workplace type thing. What was scheduled? What did you actually work? Now, I don't really care if those match. It would be nice but it helps me out. If I know that you work 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and then you go home and you have a family to take care of, and that you really schedule everything on Saturday and Sunday, it helps me as I'm looking at things to go, oh, okay, I see where that went wrong. I need to do this and that. And I also is helpful that if I see that you scheduled yourself for 8 hours and you took 24, that maybe there was something wrong in my delivery. Okay. I also want to know how much time you put into each one of these. This is just good. In the workplace, you're always reporting your productivity. So they're going to look at what you got done, what did you deliver, and how long did it take. Now, I don't really care. So you don't need to lie. You don't need to go, I need to hit, a certain productivity number. But start getting used to doing this. And I know it takes about 15 or 20 minutes to do this. It's well worth it. And I've had students say that this is what got them the job, that they were already trained in tracking productivity. So these are those workplace skills that really, really help. You should also get used to self-certifying. Did you do certain activities? So here are activities that are expected to get done, and hopefully you're going to certify that you did all of them. Okay? At least some portion of all of them. These are the ones that I think need to be addressed in some way. Turn it green if it's on time. Okay. And here is where I want to see your files. So you'll put a link to a Google Drive folder. Like there, I put all of my work for 1 week into a folder, and you can share it. Get the link. And please make sure it says anyone with the link can view. Copy that link and put it in there. And I've got some stuff that shows how to do that if you don't know how to do that. And where am I? Okay. So that's how you do that. The last part is this becomes a template for you to give a verbal explanation of what you did. And I've got some examples for you, but making a report to your boss or to your coworkers is really important. And it's hard to do. It's so hard to be clear and concise about it. So this becomes a template. And so you'll need to make a recording every week and drop that recording into Canvas along with this. Okay? This stuff here is worth 8 points. All of this stuff is worth 8 points. And this is where you're going to mark your syllabus that it's green, that you read it. Okay? Making your recording is worth 1 point. Okay? And the absolute easiest point in the world is copying and pasting this certification when you make your submittal. If I go into student view and I make a new attempt, I'm going to copy and paste this in here. See how it says in the comments? And it's just a certification. I'm trying to get you used to making those in your workplace. Let me make that bigger so that you can read it. So you put your name in and you say that it's your own work and a true representation of your skill and ability. Okay? Every week you certify that to me. And then I'd like to know, because it could be that you had some technology access to software problems. My internet was down and I couldn't get onto VMware or whatever. So you'll go, it was or was not a difficulty. So just erase the part that doesn't count. Software did or did not slow you down. Spending adequate time was or was not a difficulty. I mean, that can really be a problem sometimes. I just want to know. When you needed help, it was or was not available. I'm mostly available during the day, and I'm not as available during nights and weekends. Okay? Because believe it or not, I'm contracted for 20 hours a week. Okay? That's what I'm paid for. 20 hours a week. And though I love working with everybody, I'm compensated just like everybody else. Although I'll move stuff around, believe me, I'm some people say I'm good at that. I say I'm bad at that. If somebody needs something, I'll jump on with you. Don't worry about it. Was there something else that got in the way? That can happen a lot. And it was just quantity or quality. Okay? Kept me from learning, or I learned it, but I didn't do enough. So that's worth a point also. Piece of cake, man. You get 2 out of 10 points for just doing a voice recording. It's just practice and certifying your work. And then the actual work that you do is worth these 8 points. Here's your grading. If all of the work meets technical and accurate standing and looks like it was done at some sort of a professional level, you'll get 9 out of 10. Okay? Okay? If some of it looks like, yeah, that was cool, but we got to mentor you a bit. Or, I got to mentor a bunch, and there's some stuff that's not even quite right yet. And so this is just, it's really hard to get a 10. That's professional level. Now, we've got some students in the class that are at that professional level already. They're just getting some skills. Most of you will be getting your work in this range or this range. Okay? Most of you are going to be in one of these two ranges. Right? Which is great. Any questions about what this page is like? This is a new thing for just about everybody because it's really driven towards workplace and the ISO 9001, which you'll hear about later. Okay, so this is a little bit about your final portfolio. This is about how to get help from me, your home-based coach, tech ed, or college. So this is where we're going to start tomorrow. Okay? Tomorrow we'll get started right here. And we're going to start out with workspace and toolbars and using the mouse. And then on Thursday, we'll do a bunch of drawing and circles and polygons. I still have to post that one. Okay, and here's the playlist for you for how to do those. So we've got basic circles, how to draw lines, how to do that canvas recording, how to do the discussion board, how to make a PDF. So I'll fill this up a little bit more. There will always be a playlist. Now you'll see some of these are super like professional. Some of them are not as professional. Some are more professional. The ones that look really professional were done by our Design Hub interns because we have great, great skills with that. So if it says like this American River College, it was done by our good interns. So I want to talk to you a little bit about this practice. Just drawing lines. Oh, that's a perspective one. Let me do this one. So I've just got stuff that you can look at and just practice drawing. And I don't care how big it is, how small it is, just kind of making something that sort of looks like that. Here's a bunch more with the rectangles. You know, just it's amazing what you can draw with just rectangles, isn't it? So these are just practice. If you can just crack these out really quick, that's kind of cool. Okay, just practice. Draw things. They don't have to be a certain size, a certain shape. Just practice making shapes. That's kind of cool. And the last thing is our collaboration work. So I want to look at that really quickly. So there's 3 things to do. One is an introduction. Please introduce yourself. 2 is just look at a CAD drawing and tell me about it. So I made a fancy one, but if I picked a drawing that I worked with in the past, but just pick it and you don't have to put it in, but you should practice making verbal submittals if possible. Doesn't matter. You could do a text box if you want. Okay, but just find a drawing and tell me about it. That's kind of cool, easy to do. And then the last one is you're always going to get one like this. There's a drawing. You couldn't make it. There's stuff missing. There's actually a lot of stuff missing in this drawing to make it something you could produce. I just want you to pick one thing. If it's something somebody's already chosen, that's okay. It doesn't have to be something new that nobody else has talked about. But at the end of the week, I'll post like probably 10 or 15 things that might be added onto this drawing to really make it a producible part so that you start getting the idea about drawings and standards and we'll go on from there. Okay? So I'm doing pretty good. I've got 4 minutes left. Let's see what I've missed. Here's this. Here's a sample. You can just look at these. This is all just easy look at stuff. But every week you're going to see something that looks like this. General information. Look it over. If it's helpful to you, that's good. If it's not, that's okay. And then there's assigned work. Okay, this is really the tutorials for your assigned work. Here's some more tutorials. Here's this, your collaboration. And this, your portfolio submittals, is really where the action starts. So that's where you're going to get your portfolio templates. So the workplace for toolbars. This one right here. Is that the right one? I see why. That had an odd restriction on it. There you go. That should work now. I don't know why that one was stuck with a Los Rios. If you ever get one of those, you can always log back in with your W number. That's where we save everything. But thank you for checking that one. These things always have, let's make sure that, usually I get those onto YouTube. I don't know why that one wasn't on YouTube yet. Should be. But thank you. Any others that you're... Okay, so is it better to download CAD or just use the VMware? So I've got a thing that says how to save while you're working on VMware. Some people just like to have the program on your own computer. So let me show you how to get it. I don't have it on my own computer. And that's because my computer isn't actually big enough to hold AutoCAD, Inventor, Fusion, Revit, Maya. I've got 2 or 3 others. It's just not, I just don't have the power to get them all on there. So I use the VMware and it keeps me up to date. But if you go to...
Welcome to ARC Tech Ed Tips.
Okay, so
here we make all kinds.
So I just put the link to this site in the chat line, and you will see down here under Autodesk Tutorials a full list, just some good stuff. And there's the AutoCAD download tutorial. So you're welcome to do that. It works just fine. And then somewhere we've got how to save on VMware. So I'll find that one and get it put on. But basically, and the VMware does kick you off on and off and on and off and on and off, but it's not too bad. But what I do is, as an example, somebody asked me, I need a sponge holder. So I made a sponge holder for them. There's a little thing to hold their sponge. It's not done yet because they wanted their name on it. So I have to put their name on the front. Okay? So there's a file, and I just put it into a Google Drive. Put it into my fun practice. So there it is, saved on the desktop, and just load it. That's how I work with it. That's how I save things. And then, of course, everything's on a drive. If I want it and to get to it, I can download it from my Google Drive. That's what I do when I'm working on VMware. Okay? In addition, you also have, mine just shows the instructor file, but you should have, I think it's the S drive. You should have one of these that has your student name on it. And then you can save onto here, onto the student drive. You should know that this is gone. As soon as I log out, my screen is wiped. It does not keep it. So I think that's a personal preference as to whether you're going to download CAD or just use the VMware. I tend to just use the VMware. But then I've got a great internet connection. I'm on Comcast Business, and I've got, I think, 350 per second, and I've got just strong, 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 and I'm on an Ethernet. So that would, okay, yeah. So Chris has been using the client version at home, and that's really good too, to use the client version. I've also got that, and then you can download directly. One of the things that you'll find is that we're able to update and upload the virtual one, much faster. So if I need a new program, the virtual one works better for us, because we don't have to actually load it onto each computer. But yeah, so the VMware client is another really good one, and that is from, let me just go on to here and I'll start another one. That's this one right here, where you can download it directly onto your computer. So that's another good way to go. And those are all in here. If you look, we've got a whole thing on VMware tutorials on, how to back up your work, how to install, how to sign into Adobe, how to use the one on the VMware on the server, how to do the internet browser. So we've got a bunch of these available for you too. If you go to that tech one.
Welcome to ARC.
We've got a bunch of Google Drive ones. General, how to split your screen. Some people have been having some problems with that. File management. What else do we have on here? Oh, we got some cool game simulation stuff that we're developing and working on. These are all simulations that we've done. Okay, that was a long answer. Did that get it for you? Any other questions? I don't think I've got anybody coming right on. So if you want to hang on and just ask questions, I'm perfectly willing to do so. I'm going to go ahead and turn off